in studio with us right now as we talk a little bit about the city of Lubbock and different issues facing the city. Lubbock City Councilman Jeff Griffith.
Good morning, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. It's a nice day outside.
It is. It's a nice day. You have a city council meeting this week.
Yes.
Going on Thursday, and you have a few special council meetings as well this week, correct?
Yes, we do. Big component of several of those meetings will be we are interviewing our finalists for the new city manager hire.
That was a big story over the weekend. That now down to 4 finalists. What can you tell us about the process? Where did we go? Where are we right now? And how did we get here?
Chad, it's been a many-month search. We had hired a very professional search team to get the word out, create the component of the job, but we also had several focus groups that spoke to us at City Council, had focus groups, and they brought forth data as what they felt like was important, met with the professionals from the Slavin Group, who are hired headhunters, if you will, and so I appreciate citizens all across this city that gave their input on this process. So it's been a many-month process. I can't remember exactly when we started, but this is something that we had really – I need to let the listeners know. This is something that we started before the new council was seated, but because of the pause and we have 4 new council members, that we wanted to make sure that this new council was responsible for the hiring of the new city manager.
You have 4 candidates.
Yes.
That are left, 3 from the state of Texas and 1 from the Las Vegas area, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And we had a great amount of candidates, very good candidate pool, I believe. I think I can't speak for every council person, but I think that we were all very impressed with not just the amount of candidates we had, but the quality of candidates. And with down to 4, and I think we're going to we'll have a very good week ahead of us in these interviews.
Is there something that, or many items maybe, that the city council is united in looking for from these candidates? I mean, is that something that y'all have spoken about, that, okay, this is what we all agree on that we want to see? Or is there something special or something different that you want to see from these candidates? What is it that is going to make the best hire in your mind?
That's a great question, sir. I think as a whole, our council is committed to making sure that we have someone that is not only been in the industry. We didn't just want, and it kind of goes back to, it's kind of interesting. I think there's a component that we want somebody that wants to be in West Texas, that understands West Texas. And all 4 of these candidates do understand Texas roots. And one gentleman that does not, he understands Eastern New Mexico roots. So very, very close. The neat deal is that we want somebody that loves Lubbock and appreciates Lubbock. We're independent out here and very proud of it. And it's kind of like what we've seen with hires with Texas Tech, with basketball coach, football coach. We want people that want to be here and understand how cool West Texas and Lubbock is.
Well, and the reason I ask that is that you've got 1 candidate from Amarillo, you've got 1 from Waco, 1 from Corpus Christi, the other from Las Vegas, Nevada, and it almost seems, the gentleman from Amarillo, I think, would probably be the most. He would know this area the best. It seems like.
He and one other are actually Texas Tech graduates.
Okay. And so they would know the area. The guy from Las Vegas, it almost is there any part of the council that wants like someone with a fresh look that would not necessarily take the city in a different direction planning wise or a different direction vision wise, but someone who would bring a fresh set of eyes to City Hall?
Well, and that's why I think that we've got all four of these are not from Lubbock. Not that there's not great people within our city, but this kind of gives us both. Mm-hmm. They understand Texas, they understand West Texas, but this does give us a fresh look somewhat coming from other areas. The search firm did a great job, I think, bringing us these candidates, and I think that their professionalism, and we'll get into it. This will be a very detailed interviews with these folks, and out of respect to the process, I can't say much, yeah, Chad, but I can tell you that I think this council as a whole is committed to make sure we get somebody long term that's going to be. I mean, remember the city of Lubbock's a big organization; it's over 2,300 employees, so you need the right kind of CEO.
What type of relationship are you looking for between the city manager and the city council? Because there are, some city managers in the past who kind of want to do their own thing. There have been some who have relied a little bit more on direction from the council. What type of relationship are you looking for?
Very good question, sir. The way our charter sets up in this city, and it's a very old document. The city manager is only one of three employees that actually work for the city council. The other being the city secretary and the city attorney. We hope to have someone that runs this like a business, a great CEO, and we hope that we have someone that will take some of our direction. But it's not our job, as per the charter, to get in the weeds. In other words, we need somebody to run the city. And so that's, I think.
Run the city, but maybe take some direction?
Yes, definitely take some direction, but we need a CEO to run the city.
You've got 4 candidates that are left. You have interviews with those candidates. It seems like all the candidates this week?
Yes, that's correct.
Where do we go from here? What's the timeline?
Timeline is we'll do the interviews. We're tickled to get them here and get this underway. The process after this week will huddle and determine if we can get to from those this pool of 4. Let's see if we can narrow it to 1. And I think that'll be the mayor and the council's charge to. We'll just have to see where we get by weekend with these interviews. We do have our current city manager, James Loomis, who's done a great job. I must give him kudos what he's done for our city. And he's retiring. November 18th will be his last day. So the clock's ticking, but we're not under the gun. We don't have to make a decision this weekend.
Right. With James Loomis, is he going to be involved in any of the interviews?
Don't believe so. No.
Okay. I didn't know if he was going to have any say. Probably if you're retiring and you're looking at, okay, who's going to be taking over for me? Maybe part of you wants to say, here's what you need to look for. I don't know if there's going to be any of that or not.
There may be discussions with James because we all respect him and his opinion, but we're responsible. These 7 of us that are voted in for the city, we're responsible for this hire, and we need to make sure we get the right one.
Let me add, before we go to break, and then when we come back, we'll get into some other city issues. How much information about these candidates that are up for city manager that y'all are going to be interviewing? How much of the information is going to be, I guess, released to the public before a hire is made? Like, is there going to be, I don't know if if you're going to have media in on any of this, or if anything's going to be released. Here's where this candidate's heading. Here's what this candidate heads. This is what this candidate believes. now we're going to go, the city council is going to go and make a decision. I don't know if is there any vehicle for citizen input? How does that work?
I think at this point, it is just the 7 of us making the decision. As far as the amount of information released for media's sake or to the public, it is, I have not seen anything on this yet, but I don't believe there is.
Okay. I just didn't know, with the hiring process, I don't know if that's, you get into some legal issues
Good
or
point.
what there.
And out of respect to these 4, and we do respect them and applaud them wanting this job. It is a very good job, but it's a very demanding job too.
Councilman Jeff Griffith in studio with us. When we come back, LP&L is making some headlines this morning. We'll get into that and some maybe some other citywide issues if we have time. We'll be right back. Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. Councilman Jeff Griffith in studio. And Councilman, there was a story out today, LP&L proposing smart meters and an updated customer billing system that they want to get installed. Where are we on that? And what exactly is LP&L looking at?
I'm glad you brought this up, Chad. It is in our electric utility board meeting yesterday. This came to light. We had a presentation on meter reading and how possibly we can have improvements in this and not have mistakes. And anytime you punch in numbers, you can punch in a wrong number. So this became it. We've had some elevated issues, not huge, but elevated issues in certain neighborhoods with improper meter reading. So it came to light that maybe we need to start addressing this. It's an expensive process, probably $30 million plus can be done over multi-years, but it's something that a lot of other cities have done and helps on efficiency. And the customer, the home, that property owner, that LP&L billed customer can also determine how much electricity they're using.
You've probably seen the comments that I have, and you talked about the misread bill, the misread meters. Some would say the unread meters, and people are billed. And I had a friend of mine who, his bill was just huge, and they came out, reread the meter or read the meter, and reduced the bill dramatically. Is something like smart meters, or I noticed here in the story from Fox, Mayor Dan Pope called them advanced meters. Is that something that will alleviate that problem?
Yes, absolutely it would, because the way the technology works, and I'm not an engineer, but I'll explain it the best I can. It's not like the meter is on 24/7. It comes on just for 30 seconds or a minute to output the data when it's time to be read, and it's that simple. So the other thing it does is help us in our grid to be more efficient, so we can determine if there's areas of town that may be could be headed for a problem, a brownout, a blackout. Mm. So it also helps us on the maintenance side of it.
And this is something that it's not a done deal yet. This is going to be, I guess, debated among the council. How does that work?
Yeah, we need to let the electric utility board and LP&L administration continue with how they want to see going forward with this, and then yes, it would come to council, because it would definitely end up being it's not a cheap.
Well, and there's controversy around smart meters.
Just
nationally, there's been controversy.
Absolutely, but they're not on 24/7. A lot of people are scared of that, or health hazard. They've been tested all over. I'd like to see more data before we do it, but I'm not against it at all. Let's make sure that it's financially the right thing to do also.
Let's see, a couple of other agenda items that I know you wanted to get into. Monsanto and the tax abatement is something that we've had calls about, y'all have had, I'm sure, citizen comments on, and you wanted to kind of address that issue as well.
Yes, it's back on the agenda for Thursday night. Chad, there's really two different components of it. One is to create a tax abatement zone, which is in that north end of the city, west of I-27, across from the airport, or northwest of the airport, I should say. That is where Monsanto's constructing a $140 million plant, and we're tickled to have them. This is a great thing for the cotton industry around Lubbock. We need to maintain our leadership in cotton for decades. So this goes beyond, this is a sensitive issue anytime you give a tax abatement. We weren't getting any tax money, by the way, out of that area anyway, that it's been pointed out. But the big thing here is that the construction, the sales tax, the property tax will all generate long-term great revenue for the city. But this is a bigger picture. This has to do with about leadership in cotton. As agriculture, I mean, we're blessed that we're in the heart of cotton, but the bottom line is this plant can produce 80% of the cottonseed for all of North America. It is unbelievable what they can do. By the way, we brought up LP&L. They'll be, I believe, LP&L's second largest single metered customer. The neat deal is that they help us on many fronts long term. But this is about leadership in cotton industry for Lubbock, Texas.
And finally, before we have to go to the break here and let you go about your day as well, the land use plan update.
Thanks for bringing that up. This is much needed. It's been something that this council realized that is long overdue. Our planning and zoning folks had been on us for actually a couple of years now to get this changed. So it's a budget amendment so that it's about $500,000 to do this. But as our city's grown, we need to redevelop and understand, make sure we're using our land properly in zoning and planning as we continue to grow.
Councilman Jeff Griffith, appreciate your time today, and y'all have a busy week ahead of you, and we'll visit with you here in the next few weeks about where we are city manager-wise. Maybe we'll already know by then.
I hope so. Chad, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That's Councilman Jeff Griffith.